further information, please see Pastor Tokes or Pastor Kevin.
If you would like to do church notices, please speak to Alicia, James or Cara.
In this video, I'm going to be talking to you about the benefits of home education. I just feel for home education, I think it's one of those things that's a passion of mine, and I think that there are so many benefits about home educating your child that I just wish that more parents would understand it and see for themselves. I think sometimes there's a level of fear of thinking, I can't home educate my child, I don't know all the different subjects to teach them, or I couldn't be with my child all day long, like that would drive me crazy. These are some of the things that I've heard people say, but there's so much benefits with it. It's just unreal. I just love it, and I feel like my time's kind of running out. I know it probably sounds a bit sad, but my time is running out. My oldest boy is 16 now. He'll be off to sixth form in September, which I'm happy for. I wouldn't want to keep him home any longer. Obviously, if he didn't get into the school that he needed to get into, then I have no qualms and no problems about homeschooling him through A-levels as well. He's already quite independent as it is, and I just have to pay to get the tutors in to help him with the topic areas that he needs. But for now, my older boy is on a journey heading in that direction towards sixth form. My younger two, I've got one in year 7 and one in year 8, and we are still home educating them. They're both moving at a similar level, and they'll both be choosing their options in September for the things that they want to do for their qualifications and their GCSEs, well, we call it IGCSEs. But I'm going to talk to you now about, I don't know how many reasons there are, I haven't worked it out yet, but I'm going to be talking to you now about the reasons that the benefits of home educating your child. I just feel as though the parent is better equipped to know what's in the best interest for their child. Through home educating your child, you'll have a deeper relationship with your child. When I first took my children out, I knew my children, but I got to know them in such a different way when they were taken out of school. I got to find out more about their likes and their dislikes and their temperaments, and also character traits, like, character issues. Sometimes your child has got some character, there's some things in their character, some flaws in there that need time for you to work on those things as well. But you get to learn about your child on a much deeper level. School runs. I love not having to take my children to school in the morning to follow that same order of the flow and the hustle and bustle of getting your child to and from school, trying to find parking spaces, walking up the hill to drop them off to school, getting them into a different type of location, working out if you're working out the timings of the morning, like the traffic in the morning, then having like a big cross to show that you've been late this many times in the whole year. It's so nice just waking up in the morning. We have like a routine, so my kids have alarm clocks, but just wake up in the morning and you know that you don't have to travel anywhere. You literally can just do the work in the way that you've designed to do the work. So I love not having to rush to take my kids anywhere. Social interactions, socialization they call it. In a school, your child is around children whether they want to be around that child or not. Within the home education environment, your child has to seek out friendships a lot more, and they get to pick and choose their friends a lot more than they would do if they're just forced to be in a class with a child that they may not necessarily get along with. Now, some people might say that's not good because when they're in the real world, they've got to deal with people that they like or they don't like. And that's the same thing here. The children, when they're in a home education environment, they will still come across children that they might not necessarily get along with, but they'll still be involved in activities where they have to learn different skill sets as well. Obviously, when they go to work, they will learn on the job. They will learn how to adapt and build relationships with different colleagues and things like that. But whilst they're children, they can have much more meaningful relationships with the friends that they've chosen for themselves, and also having their parent around them quite a lot. They're being supervised much more than it would be when they're in the playgrounds. In the playground, you have like maybe 2 to 3 teachers outside, maybe 4 or 5 teachers outside watching maybe, I don't know, like 160 children running around doing different friendship things, but you can't really observe or interact with that child on a deeper level than you can when your child is at home. I run a homeschool group once a month. I get to see the friends that my children have. I'm not with them the whole time. I'll be sitting down having coffee with the mums, or just I don't drink coffee, I have tea. I'll be sitting down having teas with the mums, but I see my kids, I'm still supervising them the same way that a parent would be, the same way that a teacher would be in a school supervising their students, the same way that parents supervise their children as well. Okay, schools. I don't know what it is at the moment, but I just feel as though parents are losing so much power at the moment, not even just in regards to home education, just in general. I've heard some really sad stories about forced adoptions where parents are having their children just taken off of them through, like, you know, risk of harm or risk of neglect. And that is really worrying for me. I've also heard of stories where parents are getting fined. I don't know what the fine is now, but parents are getting fined like so much money because they've missed time off school, and there's not that much freedom anymore happening within schools. Some schools are doing really, really good jobs, don't get me wrong, and I work as a supply teacher, so I visit many schools anyway, and I see some schools that are trying really hard. They have like really they have really interesting assemblies for the children. They invite people in to talk to the children about many different issues. Children go on different trips, and some things that we can't substitute as home educators, and schools are doing really good. Some schools are doing a really good job, but then there is things that schools are not doing so well, like literally like down to ideologies and different things that schools are teaching children that parents are against. I think that's quite bad, because schools almost have, there's like a level of power that's over the parent, where parents are not even able to withdraw their children anymore for many subjects, like the relationship subjects and sex education. There's lots of arguments always going on about whether a child should have the right to withdraw their child. And I think parents are more empowered when they home educate their child, because they remember and they realise that they are the first educators of their children. So one of the reasons why home education is a benefit is because you can choose your curriculum for the child. The curriculum at the moment in the UK is based on the national curriculum, and that changes so often depending on which government is taking over the curriculum. It can be adapted. It's like there's different levels to what is important to teach a child and what a child should be learning and what a child shouldn't be learning, but it's all based on governments and policy makers who make all the decisions about this curriculum. Whereas when you're home educating your child, you are that head of the home. You're that one who can decide if you're going to teach your child something different to what they'll be teaching at school. For instance, my children are doing Black History. I know they do Black History Month at school. We do Black History every Friday, and every day if something comes up, you know, that's something that I'm able to teach my children. If I want to teach my child an African language or a different type of language rather than the 3 that's normally offered at school, we can go on and learn those things. Yes, even if your child does go to school, you can still give them extra lessons outside of school anyway. So there is benefits as well in, you know, those parents that are taking it a step further by doing more for their child that does go to school. So I'm not saying that. I'm just all for education. I'm all for education anyway, but I just believe that there's so much more freedom in you developing the curriculum that you want your children to be exposed to. Your job is to look after the best interest for your child. You are more equipped to know what your child's interests are and the best thing that your child needs. Sometimes teachers and schools may feel as though they know more about your child and know more about what your child should learn, but really and truly you do. They might know more about the subject areas, about, you know, where your child is working in relation to certain subjects. But again, that all goes down to the curriculum that they're using and what they think they need to pour into the child. But you have power and you have the right to teach your child according to what you think is good for them. So there's no one more equipped to know about your child than you. And some of the other reasons why I just love homeschooling, I just love to be around my children. I like having breaks away from them. Like today, the house is really quiet because my husband's away, he's in Seattle, and my children are at the dad's house. And I actually love this time as well. Some homeschoolers that I've been on some forums, they say, oh, you know, you should want to be with your children all the time. Like I love being with my child every second of the day. No, I don't love being with my children every second of the day. I like to have a break. I like to have time to do things myself. And, you know, times like this, they say absence makes the heart grow fonder. So I'm really enjoying the weather today. I'm really enjoying, I did a bit of housework right now, just been like making lots of videos. I enjoy this time. It's quiet. Can you hear that? It's like so peaceful. But at the same time, outside of these little small breaks, I love having my kids around, and I feel like they're just growing so quickly. I've always wanted to be a mother. I've always wanted to be a stay-at-home mum, and I'm just so grateful that God has allowed this to happen. I'm so grateful that I work from home. I literally it dawned on me the other day that I do 6 hours of actual work from my home as a tutor, and I'm earning almost as much as I did. Almost as much, like maybe 2/3 as much as I did when I worked as a teacher, or maybe a bit more than that. But that's only for 6 hours work. I mean, I do a lot of work in the sense of planning and different things, but it's a real blessing. I just literally just sometimes have to sit back and just really thank God for where he's taken me and where he's led me to. But homeschooling is just such a blessing. It's such a blessing to be able to do it, and I'm just really grateful. There's so many benefits. I just wish you could all find out a bit more about what they are. But if you have any questions about home education, just please write them down below, and I'll try and make another video based on what you ask me, or just message me. Yeah, just send me a message. Okay, speak to you all soon. God bless. Bye.